Hey everyone, it's Rhonda. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. I'm really glad that you are here. First off, let me apologize for the glare on this book here. It is dark outside. It seems like that's the only time I have any more to create. So my overhead light is on and I apologize for the glare, but we'll cover this up in just a minute because we are going to turn this composition book into a journal. So I've created this journal. This was for a girls' trip that I just got back from. Me and my best friend went to Moab and spent 5 days there, and it was great. We had the best time. We toured Arches, we did Canyonland, we did Dead Horse Point, just hung out in Moab. We had a really, really great time. So I wanted to make a journal for her that I could use to document our trip. Now, I did this for her I think a little over a year ago when we went to Graceland. I made a journal for her and then I made one for myself. So we're going to turn this book into a journal that I can use to document our trip. So this one I made for me. This one was kind of an experiment for me just to make sure that it would work the way I wanted it to work. There are a couple things that I need to tweak on hers. I do want hers to look as perfect as I can get it. Mine, I don't care, but hers, I want to make sure that it's really good. So this is a composition book. This is just a Dollar Tree composition book, plain old composition book. And what I've done is I've taken out some pages and I've added my own scrapbook paper. This is one of the things I'm going to fix. I didn't care if my fabric went all the way across here. Obviously for hers, I do care. So I will be fixing that on hers. And then on mine, my pages are a little bit long. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I do need to make sure that I trim down the pages on hers a little bit more than I did on mine. But anyway, so I did add my own pattern paper to this. I kept some of the composition book pages, the lined notebook pages, not all of them. I didn't use very many. This has 100 sheets in there, and that's way too many. I really wanted to focus on my own scrapbook paper. I've added some washi tape to the edges here. And it's just turned out really cute. I am loving the way that this turned out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive on into this, and we are going to make the same journal for her. And I thought I'd bring you guys along. Thought it would be kind of fun to see how this comes together. All right, let me put this aside, and I will go through all of the supplies I use as I'm using them. I think that might be the easiest thing to do. So obviously we're going to start with this composition book. Now, as I just said, I did not use all of the pages in the book. So I have a healthy stack of these composition book pages right here. I'm going to set those aside. I've got a few here that I have already glued together. Because these papers are so thin, you do want to glue them together in groups of 2 or 3. So these are grouped in 2s, and I'm just going to set those aside because I am going to use those, and I'm going to use the rest of this paper, not the rest of it. I'm going to use some more of this paper to add to this journal. But what I need to do first is take out the pages that are in here because I'm not going to use any of these. Now, the nice thing about this only being $1 is that it's already starting to come apart a little bit. So you can see here, it's already pulled apart from here. But inside the center, let me find the center here, there's just strings holding this together. Grab it right there. So what I do is just grab, oh, it's really coming apart. I haven't even gone at this one yet. Let's see here. So I'm just going to use this is my tool that I use to create the holes for sewing in my journal or sewing in my signatures. And I just get it started and give it a pull until it tears. And then it should just pull out really easily. So that's what I'm going to do here. But as I said, it's already pretty well on its way, so I didn't really have to do much to that one at all. So there's your strings, they just pull on out. All right, I'm going to set these aside. As I said, I'm not going to use any of these. What these are great for though, I keep them in my stash because when I want to add journaling to a layout or add some lined paper to a card or a flip or whatever, so I can add some journaling. These are perfect for that. So I will use this paper. But I'm going to set it aside for now because obviously I don't need it. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut the center of this. On my journal, I added a 1-inch spine. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. So I just need to cut this down the center, and I'm going to grab my big paper trimmer for this. All right, there is that. Now, I don't really care that these, that there's some rough edges in here. Those are going to all get covered up, so I'm okay with that. So the next thing I need to do is create my spine for this. So what I've done, as I mentioned, this is a 1-inch spine. And I've already cut a piece of cardboard out. Now this can be cardboard from anything. This was cardboard packaging that came in with some scrapbook paper. And I always keep them because they're kind of the perfect weight for a spine. But so I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut this down to size. So let me just grab, let's see, where my pencil is, here it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this down so that it's the same dimensions as my composition book cover. Let me trim this down. Okay. And it's a little crooked, but again, it doesn't matter. So there is our spine. Now we just need to attach this to there. So if you guys have seen my videos where I've put journals together before, I am a big fan of using Tyvek. Tyvek is that super strong woven paper. They use it to wrap houses sometimes. You can get mailing packages or package envelope mailer things that are made out of Tyvek. I just buy it off of Amazon. You get a big pack of it, and I use it all the time because I like that it helps create a sturdy base for my journal. All right, so we're gonna glue this down. Actually, I think I might trim it down first. So let's figure out, you want to leave just a little bit of a gap between your spine and your covers, just so that when you fold them closed, they've got a little bit of wiggle room there. So let's see, I'm going to do a little bit there, a little bit there. You want to make sure that you've got enough here to cover on the front side and enough of a lip here to cover on the back side. Now it doesn't need to go very far. Again, all this is doing is creating some stability for your spine. So I want this to be probably right about there. And then we want it to be as long as our spine. All right, let me cut those down. And are we good enough here? No, I need to bring out the other one. All right. Okay, there we go. Eggs. All right, so our Tyvek is cut. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue this down in the center. And I'm just using PVA glue. You can use pretty much any glue you have. You want it to be as a good secure glue. So like a glue stick probably wouldn't work, but I've used my, my tape runner before to do this. Anything will work, again, as long as it can hold some weight. So I'm going to use my PVA glue here just because I have it out. Make sure that it's ready to go. Yep, okay. So I'm just going to spread this out. And again, that's going to go right in the center. Doesn't have to be perfect. All you're going to do is attach your covers to this, so it doesn't have to be perfectly centered. Okay. That's obviously going to need to dry. PVA is a very wet glue, so it needs to dry pretty well here. But I'm just going to go ahead and take and put some glue on this side and some glue on this side. And then we're just going to lay those down on here. And again, make sure you've got your gap. And then I need a gap over here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now you can see, I'm not going to lift it up yet just because it is super wet, but you can see that this is going to create our spine, which attaches to our covers. Okay, so this is all good to go. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and tackle the front cover. Okay, so I just checked on that. It's still not dry enough to use yet, but let's go ahead and talk about what I'm going to use on the front cover. So the paper collection that I'm using is 49 in Market, and this is their Wherever collection. And I chose this collection because I really wanted something that was very earth tone based. Obviously, we were out in the desert. We were out in the red rocks, the sand, all that kind of stuff. So I really wanted something earth toned. So that's why I chose this collection. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and use for pretty much all of the cover and all of the inside. So let's see, I'm going to bring this back over here and we'll see what I did. Okay, so I've got this paper here. This is my cover. This is the main base of my cover. And then I've got some torn paper left from where I tore this piece out from my cover. And I'm going to do the same thing for this cover. And then what do I need? Oh, I've got this little cut file here. This one that says Utah with the arches. This was a cut file on my Silhouette Cameo. And I just cut one for her and I cut one for me. Let me see what I did with hers. It's got to be here somewhere, right? Yeah, okay, here it is. So here's that one. And then I've got this little ephemera cluster up here, sorry, embellishment cluster up here. And I've pulled out from this is the, grab it. This is the 49 in Market Wherever ephemera bits. And so I've gone ahead and pulled out things that are similar to what I used on mine. So I've got those here. So we've got that. And then the only other thing that I really used was these rub-ons. And again, 49 in Market, they're not from the Wherever collection. I think they're from one of their other collections. I'm not quite sure which one it is. But I used some rub-ons as a base for the embellishments and then just to add a little bit of something on here. And I really love the way that turned out. If you cannot tell, am obsessed with 49 in Market. Right now, they are by far my favorite manufacturer. I just love the vintage look that they give to everything that they have in their collection. So that is one of the reasons that I gravitated towards 49 in Market for this. So, all right, so now what I need to do is take this piece of paper and I need to cut it down so it's going to fit my cover. And if you've seen me before, I don't really measure anything. So I'm gonna, since that cover is still drying, I'm going to use this cover. And we're going to see if we can make this work. All right, so I need that to be roughly about here. And then we need it to be, let's turn it over. As you can tell, I didn't finish the back of mine. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna finish the back of this one yet or not. I kind of like the fact that you can still see that it's a composition book. Kind of one of the reasons that I didn't finish the inside either. I love that you can see that. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But let's see. I've got my length, now I need my width. And again, this is gonna be covered on this side over here, so I don't have to go all the way to the edge, so that one doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm just gonna do right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and cut this down and see how close we get it here. This very well could be the reason that the pages in my journal were a little bit long because, again, I don't measure anything. So that could very well be the reason. All right. Get it there. Okay. So let's see if, by any chance, this is going to fit on here. And it should. Should be good. Okay, make sure it's long enough. It is. All right. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and ink up the edges on this. And I just am using the Walnut Stain Distress Ink by Tim Holtz. That is my favorite. I use it just about all the time. So we're going to ink those edges. Make that look nice and distressed. it down on the edges just a little bit. I have to tell you guys, this was the best trip. Like, we had so much fun. I am not a desert person. I am very much a, give me a mountain and lakes and streams and wildlife and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't like incredibly thrilled that we were going to Moab, but oh my gosh, being there, it was unbelievably beautiful. I'm so glad we did it. My daughter was like, Mom, you're going to love the desert. And I said, no, I'm not. But I did. I really, really did. Okay, so I want to do this torn piece right here. So I'm just going to go in and, let's see, I need it to be, like this big. So we're going to tear that. And then we're going to, I like the white edge, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a rough tear here. And we'll see how that looks. And is that tall enough? Oh, I want to go, let's do that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, we've got that, and I just need to cut off this edge. All right. Now let's see how that looks. Okay, I may want to come down here a little bit. I don't love that it's taking up so much room up here, so I'm just going to tear this a little bit more this way. And that's not horrible. I kind of really like that. It comes off of this edge just a little bit, so I may tear down this way. Okay, that looks good. All right, so now I'm going to ink those as well. Okay. All right, so that's going to go there. I think I'm good to go ahead and attach that. So I'm just going to use my ATG. And let's see, do I want to give it a little bit of a border? I think I do. Okay, so there's that. Now we can attach this beautiful arch here. So I'm just going to rough up the edges on this one too. Clearly I need to add some ink to this because it is feeling a little dry. We're just going to get in here and get all of these edges nice and distressed. Okay. That is done. Oh my gosh, you guys, in the last, probably about a month or so ago, we got a kitten, which was definitely not in my life plan right now. And he is so not happy with me right now that my door is closed. He loves to play in here. And I can hear him outside of the door meowing at me because I'm not letting him in. So depending on what he does, I may have to let him in here. And just know that little Mickey may make a cameo appearance because he loves to hang out up here while I am crafting. So this is not as straight as I want this. So we're going to see if I can undo it a little. Can we move it over? All right, I'm just going to rip it off because I'm not happy with, oh shoot, it's going to take off more of the paper than I wanted it to. He is clawing at underneath the door. Okay, let's, oh, I don't know how this is going to work. Okay, that may be a little bit better. This is going to get covered up by, I don't know if you can tell, it's a little wrinkled, but that's going to get covered up by my arch here, sort of. Okay. All right, we've got our arch here. That's going to go there. Need to add a little bit of glue here. Okay. Oh, I don't love that. Okay, coming right along. So you can see, starting to look like the other one. All right, so now what I need to do, I could add the Moab Girls Weekend title. I just used my Dymo label maker, favorite thing in the world, to do that. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and add that on here now. So okay, so we've got Moab, Girls Weekend. Thinking I want to change out that Moab. My alignment was off on this. I think I'm going to redo that one, because the O and the A, or the M and the O kind of got crunched together. Let's do a different one. M, O, A, B. Oh, and I did it again. Okay, well, such is life, right? It'll be fine. Okay, and if it really bothers me, I can go back and try it again for a third time, but there we go. Okay, so that says Moab Girls Weekend. So all we need to do now for the front cover is finish embellishing this. So, but what I need to do first is put down the rub-ons that were under here. So I'm gonna grab those and see what rub-ons will work, and we'll go ahead and put that on here. Okay, these are the rub-ons that I've been using. They are the Simple Vintage Essentials, and it's the typeset rub-ons. So what I like to do is just kind of cut a spot of these and see how it goes. So I think I might take this. Let's do that. Oh, I love the smell. Isn't that weird? I love the smell of those. Kind of that vinyl-y smell. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my base up here. And we're just going to grab our little popsicle stick and just rub this on. I think I need it to go pretty much the whole way here. So we'll do, let's see, we'll do this. Okay. There's that one. And I always keep these scraps because, again, I can use them somewhere else. So there's that. And then I need a little something over here. Oops, we got sticky stuff. Let's see what we want to do over here. I've got some pieces of some stuff left here. Maybe maybe this little alphabet here as something. Let's try that. Okay, so let's take some of this and just put it here. Okay, that's good, like that. And then I just need a little bit of something down here. I added these butterflies, and as I'm looking at this, I'm not quite sure where those butterflies came from. I don't know if they were in this pack and I used them all. I'm gonna have to look at my stash and see if I can find where those butterflies went, because I really do love those butterflies. All right, and now I just need a little something, something over here. And I think I'm gonna do, what do I have left? Let me just do like this. Let's just do this and see how that looks. Okay, that's good. All right, so I'm going to put these away, and I'm going to see if I can find those butterflies. All right, I am not finding those butterflies, so I'm thinking that they came with these rub-ons and I must have used them all already. But yeah, that's a bummer, but maybe I'll figure out something else to do. So then the last thing we have to do on this cover is do this little embellishment cluster. So I've got the pieces here, and again, they're $49 in Market, Wherever, ephemera bits. And we're going to layer these pieces on here. And now that I'm looking at this, I should have done more. That's okay, it's all right. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine, so. All right, we'll lay this down. And that can go, let's make it go like right there so we can still see on this side. All right, so we've got that. So we've got this tag here. We're gonna put that down. Grab my little glue here for that. Okay, and then I've got this long tag here, and it says Moments to Remember, which is fine, but I kind of wanted to put something else on here. So that's what I did with mine. This had something else printed on there, and so I just changed that to a little adventure. And for this one, I'm just going to put Explore More. So I'm going to ink these edges. And then I'm going to glue down this Explore More. Okay, does that look good? All right, that's good. That's going to go there. And then I've got this tag, or this tab, that's going to go up here at the top. And I'll probably put it over here. All right, so let's attach that. This is little tag is perfect because it gives me somewhere to put the dates of our trip. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. Let's see, we'll put this, maybe bring it over here a little bit more. Okay, so now I just have a little bit of stamping to do. I'm going to grab my roller date stamp, and our dates were April 10th. And I'll use my Distress ink for this. This is April 10th. Make sure that's right. Yep, okay. We'll put that there, and it was through the 14th. All right. Okay. I'm gonna grab, I'll just put that there. Okay, so it says April 10th to April 14th. And then the last thing I need to do is stamp on this tab here. On mine, I found this little teeny tiny word that says awesome. Might be hard to see, but it says awesome. It was very hard to find a stamp phrase that was small enough to fit on here. So, but I do have it in a super old Creative Retreat stamp set that I have. Like, is Creative Retreat even around anymore? I don't even know if they're even a thing. But I'm just going to use this awesome and stamp that on that tab. Okay, and that goes that way. Now, I didn't have any inks that I thought would go well with this. So what I did was grabbed an old, again, super old Stampin' Up marker. I think I've mentioned this before. I was a Stampin' Up demonstrator way back in the day. We're talking probably at least 25 years ago. And so I still have all of the stamps, or all of the markers. These were the Stampin' Right markers. So they have a brush on one end, and they have a fine point, like a writing tip, on the other end. So again, I've had them for probably 25 years, and they're all perfect. They have not dried out. They've been great. So I still use these all the time. And so I pulled this color out because I thought it would go well with this. So I'm going to use this as the ink for my stamp. So I'm just going to take that brush marker, and I'm just going to brush this on here. Color in that awesome. And I'm going to stamp it here just to make sure it's going to work how I want it to. And it does. All right, so I'm going to do that same thing again. All right. And then we'll make sure that this is, I'm going to move this way. Make sure that that is good to go. Ta-da! I don't know if you can see that. Let me tap that here. Not bad, not bad. It's a little low, but that's okay. All right, so I am going to attach this with some glue, but then I also want to use my stapler because I love the look of staples on a tab. So I'm going to just glue it down just so that it stays in place. Push that down just a little bit, and then I'm going to grab my tiny attacher. And we'll just throw some staples in there. Just for some decoration. Okay, there is our cover. And I think that turned out really cute. Super bummed I don't have those butterflies, but I need to get past it. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, so that's done. Let me check my cover again and see if we're close to getting dry. And then we can attach the fabric. We are looking pretty good here. This is going to be good enough for us to work with and glue the cover on. I did put this down on a lined piece of paper to dry, and I got glue all over it, so ignore that paper on there. But we're just going to go ahead and attach this to our front cover. And you really want to make sure that this is the edge that is lined up perfectly. So you can see that the composition book has a rounded corner. Now you can leave this just square, or you can go in with your scissors after you've glued it down and you can trim that so that it matches the curve of that. Either way, on mine I did trim it. So I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do on this one. So to attach the cover, I'm going to use my double-sided tape. Now this is an extra sticky tape, and I really love to use this on things like covers so that I don't have to worry about it coming off. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this all the way down my sides. All right, those are all stuck down, and then I just need to peel off the backing. And the easiest way to do that for me is with just like a little sharp tool, like a poking tool. I just get underneath there and pull off those. Okay, so we're just going to get this stuck down here. Push that to the edge. And then not down on the bottom. Okay, maybe we'll just do it this way. Let's try, make sure that is there and that is there. Okay, there we go. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now we just need to add our fabric. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I've got this strip of fabric here that's left from my journal, and we're going to see how wide we want this to be. So this is obviously going to be too wide because if I were to glue it down this way, it's going to cover a lot of the front cover here, and I don't want that. So I know that I want it to be, let's do it this way, roughly right there on the front cover. And the back cover, actually it's not too horrible. I could lift this up a little bit, or I can't because it's glued down. Okay, so what I may do, I may actually just leave it the way it is. Now it's going to, you can see how much is going to overlap here on the back cover, but I think I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this as it is. We're not going to trim it down, but I'm going to need to grab another piece of fabric on the inside, as I showed you before, where I missed here. So we're going to glue our fabric down, and then I'm going to have to cut another little piece to fill in the gap because I don't think that this is long enough. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add our PVA glue here, and I'm just going to come down this side right here without covering much of my cover. Okay. Turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. All right, and I'm going to leave a couple inches or so as my overhang on this edge so that I have something to wrap around the spine. So I'm going to lay this down here. I can go in and trim off all of these excess threads in a minute. Okay, that looks good. We've got that there, we've got that there. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, and we're going to wrap this part up and this part up, and then that's that little gap I'm going to have to cover. So let's do this. Oops. Get those glued on there nice and good. And then we'll do the same thing up here. Okay. And this PVA glue dries clear, so you don't have to worry about it showing through your fabric, or, you know, like if you get a little bit on the excess or a little excess on the edges here, you don't have to worry about that. It's going to be just fine. Okay, so let me grab my extra piece of fabric here, and I will cover that gap. That looks pretty darn good. Let's see here. Yep. Yep. So we were able to put that on there without covering a whole lot of the cover, and it definitely didn't cover my Utah there. So that is good. I'm just trying to move this over a little bit. I feel like it's a little, I've got a little much here at the top. It's kind of crooked between here and the bottom, but I may not be able to fix that. That's okay. This is handmade, right? Handmade with love. Okay. Okay, that worked out pretty well. Got that little gap all covered. Like I said, I'm going to go back and trim off these strings. This is all pretty wet right now, so I'm again going to set this aside to let it dry. And while we wait for that to dry, we're going to go ahead and create the signatures that are going to go in here. So for the signatures, as I mentioned earlier, I am going to use some of the lined paper that was in the composition book. So these are the leftovers that I have from when I made mine. As I said before, these are glued together already. You do want to glue them together in sets of 2, sometimes 3, depending on how thin your paper is and how thick you want it. You may have to glue it in sets of 3, but I only did 2. So I've got 3 of these that are good to go that I can use in this journal. I did go in and check on mine, and I did use 4 in each signature. So I created 2 signatures, so I need a total of 8. So I've got 3 here. So I'm going to pull out the extra paper that was left over, and I'm just going to count it off in 2s. So this will be 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's 1, 2, and that gives me 8. Okay, so I'm going to just grab my glue stick here. This is just an Elmer's Craft Bond glue stick, and these are what I'm going to use to glue my papers together. So I just open it up and I pull 1 page over, and I'm going to smooth those down because it definitely makes it easier. And we're just going to go in and glue. Put some glue on here, and we're going to glue those pages together. And these 8 are all done and ready to go, so I need 4 for each signature. So I'll separate those out right now. Now, the one thing, as I just mentioned, that I love to do is add washi tape to the edges of these. I think it just gives them, a nice finishing touch, and it also assures that both of your pages are going to stay together. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. I've got an assortment of washi tape here. I've got these here. Again, I just went for like earth tone sort of colors. So I've got these from Simple Stories. So I'm going to pull those out. You can see those are some fun earth tony kind of colors here. There's some green. So I've got those to choose from. And I've got these. This one I think is $49 in Market, but these are Simple Stories. So I've got some more there. And then I've got these from $49 in Market that I can go ahead and use as well. So that's what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take some washi tape and line my edges here. And the easiest way to do this is just to fold it open. And then, let's see, we'll do this one first. Just share with you quick how this works. If I can get it undone. Well, if I didn't need to do my nails before this, I will certainly have to do it afterwards. Okay, so then I just take it and grab a big strip of it, and you're going to want to center it. So half on this page and half off, because that half off part is going to get folded around. And just like that. And then I'll just go in with my scissors and I will trim off the excess. And I will try to get them as neat as I can. Then I'll just take my scissors and cut the excess off. Ta-da, just like that. We've got this really pretty lined edge to go in our journal. Okay, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'll put you on fast forward so you don't have to painfully watch me do this to every single page, but I will alternate the washi tape depending on what I'm feeling. I won't use the same washi tapes next to each other, so I'm just going to alternate those, and then we'll be done with this. these are all done, that is probably the most time-consuming process of this whole thing. And again, as I mentioned, it's just an extra step. Please don't feel like you have to do this, but I just love the way that finished edge looks. And I think it looks really neat when you're looking at the journal, just to see the washi tape on the edge. Okay, so now what we need to do is get some papers, the pattern papers that go in here as well. So I looked at this and I did 6 patterned papers per signature. Now, my journal is going to be a little bit different than hers because I also have my travel documents, I have my travel photos. I've got some extra photos at the end of our trip. We drove by a house that I used to live in the neighborhood, so I've got those that are going to go in here. And so mine's going to be a little bit different. So I don't think I'm going to do 6 pattern papers on each signature. I think I'm going to do 5. So the next step is just to grab some pattern paper. I need 10 pieces of pattern paper and figure out how I want those to go in this journal. Now, if you saw, I use papers of varying sizes. I don't like all my pages to be the same size. So I'm going to look through my scraps first and see what I have left from my journal. And then I'm going to kind of piece together what I want the pattern paper to be like for this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back. These are what I think I'm going to go ahead and go with. Now, I did pull out some 6x8, so I have the 6x8 pattern pack as well as the 12x12, and I think what I might do with these is tape them together and sew them into my signature. Now, the car, we did road trip it from the Salt Lake City airport to Moab, but I don't have any pictures from that road trip. So I think what I may do is cover this with a 6x8 photo. So that's my plan for that. And then there was one other one in here that I thought I could cover. Maybe I opted not to grab it. Nope, right here. So the branding paper, I can cover that with a 6x8 photo as well. Also that one. So I do plan on using a lot of 6x8 photos in this journal because we had the most beautiful scenery and I came back with incredibly beautiful photos. So I do want to make large photos in this journal. So those are just going to get taped together and then I can sew those into my signature. And then these I need to cut down. So these are the papers that I've chosen to go with as more of a full-sized paper. Obviously these are 6x8 and they are smaller than the papers that go in the composition book. So I like that. I like that there's a lot of 6x8 sizes in here, but I also want some fuller sizes as well. So cut these papers down, figure out how big I need to make them, cut them down, and then I will actually, I think I'm going to start by taping these first. So I'll share that with you, and then we'll go into cutting the papers, and then we'll be back and put the signatures together. So what I just went ahead and did was tape together my 6x8 papers. These are going to fold, and I am going to sew in my signature through the tape. So that'll become more clear when we get to sewing in the signatures. But those are ready to go. Now I've cut my 12x12 papers a little bit shorter than the composition papers, just a tiny bit. Some of them are the same length, some of them are shorter. Now what I can do is vary the way that I fold these. So normally you would fold them in half, and then that would be your page in your signature, which is great. I mean, that's perfect, but you've got two that are the exact same size. So now what I want to do is maybe fold this one like this. So then I've got one size. Let's see if that's going to be a little too long. Let me fix that here. I should have figured that out first. So let's fold it like, I can fold it like that, and then I can go ahead and trim off the excess here. Okay, so now when this is in the signature, it's going to look like this. So I've got this smaller page here, but then I've got this larger page back here. So you can vary the way that you fold your papers. You can cut them down, you can trim them how you need them, all that kind of stuff I love to do. I think I'm gonna do that with this. Let's go this way, and we'll see if that needs some trimming, and it does not. Okay. So that's another page that's ready to go. I can fold this one in half again. I do like as well that some of them have the branding strip. I love leaving the branding strip on as well. So that's on here. And then this one, we'll just go this way again with it, and we'll see if we need to trim it. So let's see. And I shouldn't need to. That is covered, and that is good. Okay, so those are all the pages for my signatures. So I've got the composition book papers, I've got my trimmed down 12x12 papers, and I've got my taped 6x8 papers. So now what I need to do is figure out how I want the signatures to look. So I'm going to start with the composition, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking at the washi tape, and I just kind of want to vary, and actually that looks really good. I may switch this one with this. Nope, because that's there. Maybe switch it with that. That would work. So I've got, I've got a dark, I've got the multicolored, got all those, and then I've got those. So that's going to look good. So now I'm going to take my 6x8 papers, let's grab those, and we're going to fold those and crease them right where I've taped them down the middle. Oh, that one didn't. I was way off on my taping on that one. I'm going to have to go in and fix that one because you can see I really overlapped it and I didn't mean to do that. So we'll go in and fix that. Okay, so these are folded, and I'm going to put 2 of them because I've got 5 here. Once I fix this one, we'll just, actually it's going to be okay. I'll just leave it the way it is. So we'll just do that, and then it will be sewn in, and it will be fine once it's sewn in. So it doesn't look bad because I've got that blue that overlaps it. So yeah, it'll be fine. So we'll just do that. So I'm going to go ahead and separate these between my 2 signatures. So I think I'll do, let's see, we've got a dark one here. We've got another darker one we'll put there. This one can go here, this one can go here, and we'll put that one there. Okay, so I've got an extra 6x8 over here in this pile, so I'm going to add an extra 12x12 paper over here just so that my signatures have an even amount of pages. So I'm going to take this one. Actually, let's switch that. We'll do that there, and we'll put a dark one there. Okay, right, so we've got our piles here for our 2 signatures. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is put the 2 signatures together. Well, it's a couple days later, and this is the first opportunity I've gotten to go ahead and finish up this journal. So that's what we're going to do now. And all I need to do at this point is sew in my signatures and do the finishing touches on the cover. It is all dry, done, and ready to go. So it just needs the signatures, which is what we're going to do now. So my signatures are all ready to go. I've got binder clips on them just to keep them all held together. I've got them perfectly even, so I want to keep them that way. So I've got the binder clips on there. All right, so what are we going to need to sew in our signatures? All right, so the first thing I'm going to need for this is a template. And I've created this so that I can easily place holes in my spine so that I can sew in my signatures. So the easy way to do this is first I've cut it down to the length or the size of my spine, which is 1 inch, and then I've cut it to fit the long way as well. So now you're going to want to take this and just fold it in half the long way. So I've got that folded there. And then you open it up and you're going to fold it the short way. And then because I want to punch 3 holes in my spine, I'm going to fold this in half right here as well. If you wanted more holes, you could just keep folding your paper from both ends so that it would give you even spacing in your template. So once I open this up, I've got these lines, and where the lines intersect, I am going to where these lines intersect, I'm going to go ahead and punch little holes in here. So I've got 3 holes across. The outer 2 are for where I'm going to sew my signatures onto the spine. And then the middle one gives me the exact placement that I need when I'm punching holes in my signatures here before I sew them in, and that will become clearer in just a minute for you. So I've got my template here. I've also got my piercing tool. This is, I think it's an awl, and it is very, very sharp, so you want to be careful when you're using that. I've got some wax thread. This is the best thing ever for sewing in signatures. If you don't have wax thread, I would highly suggest getting wax thread. You can find this very easily on Amazon, and it's very, very affordable. But wax thread, it makes it so much easier to sew in those signatures. I've also got a very large needle, and again, super convenient, super helpful for sewing in those super thick pages in your journal. And then I've also got a pair of scissors here, and I've got some binder clips. This just kind of helps keep things in place while you are sewing in that signature. So let's go ahead and start on that. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is grab my template and my first signature. I think this will be my first one. Okay, now you're going to go right to the middle. Let me find that here. Okay, so here's my middle. And I'm going to grab binder clips again just to kind of keep things from moving around too much. Grab this one, grab this one. Oops. Okay. Now, when I was talking about creating your template, your middle line or your middle dots are going to be placed right in the middle of your signature. And I've got it. This one is falling off. Let's see here. I need to fix this. This happens sometimes when you've got the shorter page on the outside, so I'm going to move that up. There we go. That should work. Okay. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to line this up directly with the center of your signature. Okay. So from this point, you can either go ahead and use binder clips and add those onto here, which is what I'm going to do here. And I can take this one, but you're going to want something to hold it in place. And I'll put that binder clip there, and then we're going to use our piercing tool, and we're going to go in on that center dot. Can you see that? That center dot right there is what we're going to do, and we're just going to push through, all the way through, until we've got our center hole here. And I'm going to do this in the middle one, and I'm going to do this in the last one. Okay, so there's my 3 holes. Let me take this off of here. You can see I've got my 3 holes punched there, and I'm going to use these dots or these holes to sew in my signature. All right, so we're going to bring my book over here, and now we're going to punch the holes for the signatures, which as I mentioned earlier is going to be the 2 outside holes. So you want to make sure you've got your book where it folds. Okay, sorry, that's hard to tell. And that's exactly right there. And right there. So again, just make sure that's lined up where your journal folds in the center. And we are good. Okay, so now this is where I'm going to punch the outside 2 holes. I've got 2 signatures. If you had more, you would want to make sure that you had holes punched for all of your signatures. So I'm just going to go in on the outside 2. And you can see it's punching through my spine. There's the other one. Oops. And depending on what you've used to create your spine, sometimes this can get a little dicey because you're punching through fabric and glue. And in the case of this journal, I've got Tyvek. But you're going to just punch through, and that's why it's super important to have this all be sharp. Okay, so all of my holes there are punched. It's very, very hard to see, but I've got 2 holes there, 2 holes there, and 2 holes there. All right, now I'm ready to sew in my signature. So you just want to double check and make sure that everything is facing the right way, that you don't have things upside down. I have done that quite a few times, and it's not fun to redo everything again, so you just want to double check. So I just do like 1.5 to 2 times the length in my wax thread. Give that a cut. And then I'm going to take my big needle okay, and I like to go in on my middle hole, and you're going to just go in where you've punched the hole here all the way through. Sometimes you just need to make that hole a little bit bigger to make sure that you can get your needle through there. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the middle hole on my first punch, and we're going to bring that through, and then we'll go up through the top hole right there, and then we'll go in through the hole in my journal, my signature. This always takes a bit of finagling the first time that you sew it in. Okay. All right. So I've taken my needle off, and now all I'm going to want to do before I tie this down is to make sure that everything is even, that I don't have pages that are overlapping or crooked, and I don't. So we're going to go ahead and just give this a tie, and I like to tie this in a double knot. Get it nice and tight. All right, and then tie off, cut off your ends. All right, we've got our first part sewn in there. All right, now for the second one, I've got my needle and thread ready. And I'm just gonna go through this. Oops, and there's my, okay. There we go. And we'll go through the other hole that I've already done, so that's going to be much easier. There we go. Okay. And again, just make sure everything is where you want it. And we'll give it a tie. And I love that the wax thread will allow you to pull those extra tight. All right, take these off here now, and my first signature is sewn in. So you can see we've got this in here. That's where my first signature is at. And it looks good. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing for the second signature. Now my holes in here are already poked, so I just need to poke the holes in here, and we'll go ahead and get this attached as well. And just like that, she is done. So that didn't take very long at all. Both my signatures are sewn in. They're in there nice and tight. They're in there nice and even, which is important. And I'm loving the way that that has turned out. So fun. Yay, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so now that that's all done, the last thing I need to do is figure out if I want to put this pom-pom trim on here. Now, I did that on mine, and again, I was going back and forth on whether to do it. I think I like it, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do it on this one. But I need to make sure that my pom-pom is going away from the front cover, just because if I do it this way, it's going to cover up some of that Utah. So I'm just going to go in with my hot glue gun. I need to get that plugged in and warmed up, and then I will attach my pom-pom trim, and I think that we will be done. Let me grab mine, make sure. I don't think I showed this on camera, but I did attach another one of these puffy hearts to this. Look at that. Like, they turned out almost exactly the same. That's so cool. All right, I did find a couple little butterflies that I think I'm going to go ahead and attach. So we just ink those. I like the rub-on butterflies a little bit better, but that's okay. It just makes it look a little bit more feminine, I think. So that's why I like having those on here. I'll just go ahead and attach this one maybe like right there. And then I can attach this other little one down here. There we go. Just to add a little something something. And then I've got some twine. This is just some brown twine that I've got, and I'm going to go ahead and attach this on here. Just tie that in a little double knot and then a bow. There, that'll stay put. Shorten it up. I'm so excited to get started on this. Okay, that's done. Now, the only thing I have left to do is grab my hot glue gun, and I don't think my extension cord doesn't reach long enough, but let's see if I can do this a little bit here. She's cute. She's cute. All right, they're both done. My little twin journals here are completed. Just cannot wait to get some pictures and some stories in here. So exciting. So thank you guys for joining me. As you can see, that didn't take very long at all to turn a composition book into a junk journal. If you guys have any questions, please let me know down below. Otherwise, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already. And again, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you guys. Stay tuned. I will have more videos coming as I work my way through these. And I will see you guys next time. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.